So, hardly anybody buys software on physical media anymore in a box. Where you're buying business software, computer games, you're buying it usually online directly and downloading it and installing it from the store. But for most of the life of the PC platform, it wasn't like that. Stuff came in a box on disc, like this. Now this is a new product that I recently bought, actually in person, got signed, but it's made to be a replica of how the software came during this time period, 80s and 90s, even down to the label here, which was usually a sticker in those days. This is printed on, showing what kind of requirements there were for it. And when you bought software, you didn't just get the disc, you got sometimes extra things. You got the software itself, and of course manuals and instructions, sometimes extra catalogs, other stuff. So this here is a really good modern replica of software from back then. Kind of like this. Here's one. One of my originals that I got. Like I said, you have a sticker here telling you that what kind of disk it is. 1.2 meg high density disk, 5 1/4. Telling you need at least 386SX. You need 2 megs of RAM. This was at the time. Got this for Christmas from my brother one year, and it's fairly spicy as far as hardware requirements. But this was one of the biggest releases in the Ultima series. This is actually, I think, available on GOG, so it wouldn't be a bad purchase if you're interested in this sort of thing. Yes, 8 floppy disks. I have everything still in here except for one demo disc for Underworld. I don't know what happened to that. This came with it. This little extra things. At one point, I think people call them feelies or whatever because they're just extra things. Here's a map that's useful as a map of the game, but was, actually sort of a cloth printed map made to look like a tapestry. So could actually, be of use in there. So this was just, I guess, extra immersive things. And then you got to documentation. You first had a stop, read me first, with like late breaking information. A lot of this is about memory manager, this being into the later DOS era. You had to make sure you had a lot of memory available. The install guide with specific instructions about sound and other things. The reference card. So once you got it installed, your basic operations of how to operate the game. And then the actual sort of manual, which is more lore related and has some extra stuff, some bits of, and oftentimes you would have these odd extra bits of information that might have been used for copy protection or something. So there's quite a lot of stuff in here. And of course this was a high-end title, but stuff of this was kind of customary. So we go back. This one's a little more plain, but still in the same vein here. This is somewhere around 92-ish. Once again, it's one box, but this was a sticker because it might come on different sizes of media. You had 3.5 or 5 1/4. Not everyone had both, so you had to watch for that when you're buying software. And at this era, not so much, but if you go back further in time, when the boxes were more this size, this was kind of standard size, you might have the same box, but there might be a Commodore edition or an Atari or PC. So you go to here, and you've got the same thing. This one's still sealed floppy disk. You've got an addendum. So this is pre-internet days, so if there was anything late breaking, you didn't want to reprint the manuals or anything. You print out one sheet that had things that changed. Get your license agreement. Now you could send in a card. So they had some deal where you could send in a manual from a competing game and they'd give you some sort of free bonus. An advertisement for Prodigy, which was an online service, one of the pre-internet-ish online services. Alright, you got the catalog. So, because of course, pre-internet. So if you want to, present all the things you had available, this was a way to do it. You could even order a flight jacket. Not that I would necessarily, not sure how much of a flight jacket you would got for only $150 in 1990, but hey, there you go. And you have still more paper. Order form for backup media, because remember you couldn't just download it again if something happened to your copy. If one of these discs went bad, floppy disks do go bad. You could order backup media. You got a warranty. You got some promotional things for a tournament. Hint line. You couldn't go to Google how to get past something. So 1-800 number. You have to pay 95 cents a minute. Oh, you could order an umbrella or a golf shirt. A technical supplement. So, computer related technical stuff. And then the actual how to play the thing manual. And we're talking 112 pages of information. So, this was a different era where you couldn't quickly call up information, and so they were trying to take care of you in that sense and making sure that you had the things you needed to be able to enjoy it. All that I've shown you is a little bit later. We go back to very beginning. You just got an IBM PC Junior. Now we got here DOS, a copy of DOS that came with it. And these early IBM software titles basically came as a book. So here's a bound book, spiral bound book with a manual, quick reference guide, and the software. Because in the early PC days, most of it was on 5 1/4 disc, and so this is perfectly sized to have these pages with 2 or 3 or more floppy disks, along with the reference card. Seemed to have 2 of those for some reason, and an additional user's guide that was hiding in there. Full color illustrated manuals were not unusual, depending on how elaborate or expensive software you got. So, and a lot of the IBM titles from this era were like this, and so this got copied by other companies producing software at the time. So this looks similar, but this is not IBM. This is Lotus 1, 2, 3. And if you are familiar with Lotus 1, 2, 3, well, your back probably hurts right now. Okay, this was the predominant spreadsheet before Microsoft Excel. So if you're like my age or older, you're probably familiar with it. If you were into computers back then, if you're younger, then you probably may have never heard of it. And same kind of format, because they was, trying to be in line with that. This, oddly enough, this was one of the titles I got from Computer Reset. Most of these box IBM things labeled as a demo copy, so that's interesting. So it came with a function key template. So in this little pocket, it's a little plastic template that you would put on your IBM PC keyboard and around where the F keys are, because those were on the side of the keyboard, and would give you like a helpful little template. Those were common with a lot of software titles, either they came with it or you buy them at extra cost. Of course, it only works if you have that style of keyboard. If you have the PC Junior, you're just kind of out of luck. Yeah, once again, little quick reference cards, because you got this something 100-page manual. Maybe you want to just look up something real quick, get started real quick. There you go. Lotus 1, 2, 3, kind of similar formula format, except to use the @ symbol instead of equals or minus. Another readme first, get started. So really, and then that one is of course more about installing it and running it. So you had 2 levels of instruction on most of this. You see the how to get it on your computer running it, and then how to use it. So you have this one, the pages are still sealed. When I got it though, somebody had already rated the floppies that came with it, so I produced these duplicates so I could have a complete copy. Somebody had, taken the disc and just left the whole rest of the package. Right. Not all the IBM branded software was exactly like that. Some of these were in the smaller package. This was a lot of the educational software came like this, but it wasn't all educational software, but a lot of it did come in a smaller packaging, kind of like a PlayStation 1 case. This one's still sealed, but we'll fix that and ruin its value. But I don't think anybody was really looking for a sealed copy of Rocky's Boots by the Learning Company. So you can see they were, I think, big in educational software through that era. And then in this case, they've marketed it through IBM for the PC. Open this up. It's a little bit worse for wear. Some of these were in the back of the warehouse for a few decades. Let's see if I can get this open without breaking it into a million pieces. I think they intended for somebody to have purchased it in the same decade it was made. Now here's the floppy disk. Copy protected. Yeah, because we're really worried about that. And it's this creature here, which I guess is that. Whatever that is, Rocky Raccoon, but why does his tail look like that? Anyway, Rocky's Boots backup diskette certificate. Might have to send that in. You never know. Might need that now. So, same kind of thing, just a little more truncated. Full color manual though. Colorful graphics. We can. That's just a sample. Now not everything came in huge packaging. Here's a smaller plastic case that was for a demo version of Lemmings for the Mac. And this had just a few levels. And this little flip out item here with the instructions, keeping it low cost, because they probably sold this for a very low price to get you wanted to buy the real thing, or maybe free. And here's similar kind of thing, another one of these large box IBM titles. And of course, I'm talking about box software. It did get bigger. We saw Lotus 1, 2, 3 first version. By version 2, things got a lot more contemporary and a lot more heft, even though this is like a sort of thin cardboard box, not a giant library thing, but still inner box with the disc, the manuals, the reference manuals, but this is pretty chunky. Release 2.2, still in the DOS era, and this size of packaging was the norm for business software for quite a while after. Some packages were even larger, especially when we got into the office suites that had like Word and Excel or the equivalent. Those were pretty huge. But then by comparison, you would have stuff like this. So shareware titles that were often sold either just as bare discs or in like a minimal cardboard or paper packaging. These were like free to copy demos or software packages that companies like American Systems and Software and others would put on bulletin boards or sell by the disc. Of course, they didn't know the copyright of it, but what was legal for them to do was to charge you a per disc fee to buy the software. Since you didn't have internet back then, maybe you didn't even have a modem to dial up a BBS and download it, your only way to get these software packages was either go to a store that sold these, like they may have a whole rack of them, or to ask for a catalog, and which you would order them by the disc. So I picked these up the other week at a local electronics store in Houston. They had a whole box of discs, and of course the thing with these old discs is not all of them work. This one was no good, but this is something that's well known and you can get that online. I've never heard of this before. We'll look at it another day. This is pretty hilarious in its quality. It's a highly unlicensed game with some sort of parody NBA and NCAA personalities within there. This is just a sample of what it looks like. And we can go ahead and break the seal on this, just so you can see. This is not particularly exciting software, but you would spend a lot of money on this. Get off back in the day. I don't care about keeping. I'm not really one who cares a lot about keeping things sealed unless I'm specifically buying it for resale. I might sell some of the stuff later on, but not right now. You got a tutorial, quick start sample. So you got a small manual, then you got the big manual for reference. This would be interesting to look at. I spend most of my time in my day job in spreadsheets with Microsoft Excel, so something a little more primitive would be a hoot. What have we got here? Oh, we got the disc, and so 6 of them. 6 of them double density discs, so still pretty large for DOS software. You got your warranty card, a template. Looks like 2 different kinds. This would go across the top, and for like the later IBM keyboards, and here's one for the original PC keyboard. You got some documentation updates, a fancy looking quick reference, an upgrader's handbook, so kind of gives you a heads up if you were upgrading from that earlier version. I mean, overall, a snazzy package. And once you unpacked it, you could put it back in its case. You know, put this on the bookshelf, because you wouldn't need the disc every day, and you'd have your reference manuals and everything you needed for day-to-day operations. So it's a little bit different era. Nowadays, you just download your software, and if you need the hints or help using it, you Google it, and somebody on YouTube will show you exactly how to do it, you know, with a live replay, which is, you know, not something when you were learning spreadsheets back then, you didn't have that. So it was just you and the book that came with it, and maybe you knew somebody who could help you out. To take a class or something. But that's it for right now, unless I edit something else in. Thanks for watching. See you next time.